All right. Hello, everybody. Sorry it took a minute to get started. Let me move this stuff around. I don't like having to restart a phone before the live to get it working. But while we... Cool. Working. But while we... Cool. So, let everybody trickle in. And I'll say hello to everybody who's going to be watching on YouTube, hopefully, later. And... the main thing is tonight is going to be Dickomancy. So it'll be divination by Moby Dick cards. Oh, that reminds me. I have to flip the camera here so it... so people can read stuff. Let's see. Hi, Claire. That's my lovely wife. Let's see. Did not make it easy to enhance. Mirror your video. There. Video mirroring is off. Now you should be able to read everything. Hello, handsome. Mama? Is that my mama? Even? So anyway, yes, now you can read Dick. So tonight is Dickomancy. If you put your favorite number in the chat or mention anything about Moby Dick, and I'll draw a Moby Dick card for you. It really is a form of divination. You should ask a question before you do it. Alright, so this is all technically set up. Hi, Mom. And tonight, the in-laws gave me the rest of the bottle of wine. And I feel good because I'm in recovery, and instead of drinking the whole rest of the third of the bottle, I'm just going to have a glass or two with all of you tonight. So, feels nicer, feels more easeful around it. So in my recovery, that feels really good. So, alright, cool. So, tonight, I want to start with the card that I got for this session, because for me, it was really special and unexpected, or almost expected, because personally, I did some work with my hunter persona, deity, spirit that I work with, and I drew 3 cards as I was fixing up his spot. And he is the magician figure in my own personal mythology. And you connect him to connect all the animals too. And I drew 3 cards, and they were very good cards. The first one was Magician. The last one was the Chariot in the Alchemical deck that I love so much, and by Robert Place, that I'm always talking about. And so I went to my Tarot of the Marseille, which is the first one I ever used, and still I think one of the best anybody could use. And the card I got for tonight was, again, the same card I got for a Magician. It was the Chariot. And so, to me, what's great about the Chariot, and why I think it's worth sharing, is, if you look at it in the Alchemical deck here. In fact, why not put them side by side? Here in the... It's hard with your things reversed. Here in the Alchemical one, in alchemy, the thing about the Chariot is, it is your 3 states of self. Because you are body, mind, and spirit, or soul. And so in this card, you have this red horse is your body. The white horse is your soul. And then the chariot itself that joins them is your mind. And you're riding this up here to this perfect Dharma wheel where you actually finally get these 3 parts of yourself balanced. But this is, an early part of the journey. This is only card number 7. So, you're not exactly an advanced alchemist yet. But you're getting there. And so part of getting there is balancing the mind, body, and spirit. And it sounds so obvious, but I'm reminding myself, and so I'm going to say it out loud to all of you, because, I know all of this, but I spend so much time in this mind, and I wish I spent more time praying at these altars, but most of all, that I balance my body. And I think it's so easy for us to ignore our body and to not do any exercise, anything we can do for it. And so this is the card I got for tonight, and I think it's a really important lesson. And actually, I forget where the chariot is on the I don't have this memorized. You know, this is my my Tree of Life over here. And I know for like the Golden Dawn initiates or that magical group like 100 years ago, you had to have all of this memorized, you know, to be getting anywhere. And I don't remember where this stuff is. So many of these systems, I'm like, I kind of know, but I have to look it up. And so, yeah, so I'm looking around for the chariot. My wife probably knows off the top of her head. She'll probably burst in here and tell me, because I told her to come say hi. So, where is the chariot? Here it is. So the chariot is connecting Hakma to Geburu. So this is the seat of wisdom connecting to your seat of strength and power. And so it helps connect you above into the divine, into your own power, your own upper arm. So anyway, Florin, hi. So what deck is this? So this is the Marseille deck. This is, I think, a classic that anyone could start with, but you probably knew that one. The other one, this is Robert Place's alchemical deck, and it is, it's amazing. It's and I actually feel really lucky because I mentioned to my mom and to my wife, and they each got it to me because it just happened that way. And so now I have an extra one, and I'm gonna, once I get some other things done, I'm gonna add that alchemical deck to this wall because I think it's a perfect complement to the two decks I already have there, 3 written down. And so, yeah, this alchemical deck is just such a beautiful piece of work, and you don't have to know much about alchemy for it to really make sense, and you can learn about alchemy as you go. In fact, even if you want to hear more about alchemy, I made a new little 7-step card about alchemy in case that interests anyone. But for me, this is the card of the night, and now people have started to trickle in. It's good to see you all. And so, let's see, next question. And remember, so tonight is Dickomancy. So it is divination by passages from Moby Dick. This is like a Cards Against Humanity type game, and they have all these Moby Dick passages. Some of them we decorated over the years. So put a favorite number in or mention anything about Moby Dick, and I'll draw a card for you and maybe look up where it comes in the book. So, Estefania. That's a beautiful name. Where you have iron on your wall. So if you mean the spirit of iron, like Ogun, for instance, Ogun is right here. So here, let me get so you can see me. I know I'm gonna get better with the camera. So here's a Tree of Life, as always on the Hermetic Memory Wall. And so over here is the spirit of iron. This is number 5, which in numerology is the first unsettled of the numbers and is more unbalanced and hard. And so Gebrura is strength. It is Mars in astrology. It is that feeling of war, which is really important. It's not a pretty thing, but also, the spirit of Ogun in Ifa is also the who created the plow and who first tamed the forests and turned them into farms, and is the spirit of technology in general, which is very powerful, of course. And so, in the New Orleans voodoo deck, they say that Ogun is the cop at the Mardi Gras parade. I mean, you don't love it, but there has to be cops at the Mardi Gras parade. And he's also the warrior going through walls. And my godfather was an Ogun. And to have that kind of spirit of someone who would just destroy because you're part of their family, it's a powerful thing. And in times in world history, you need that. And so it's important to have that spirit of iron as well to balance it out. That's why I really like Chinese alchemy, because in Chinese alchemy they have 5 elements, and the 5th element is iron, is metal, which is, created by humans in a sense, but has been so life-changing for such a long period of time, it now deserves to be in the equation. Probably the 6th element is going to be plastic, because now that's changing everything, but that's too dark, and I'm too true, I don't want to think about it. The 16 from Takalana. Okay, so everyone, we're doing Dickomancy, which is divination by Moby Dick cards. As you can see, Takalana did the first one, and so for your question, the answer is, put this out of the way. Here. Some of them are a little offensive, and I'm surprised they're in here. So, this one is the axis of the cheese. and it has this great stamp that I had years ago on it. And this is from chapter 60, The Line, which is actually talking about hemp rope, which is why I actually have it in my books about hemp. And so let me look it up over here, where that comes. So it's talking about the whale line. So yeah, I just look up also where it comes in the thing. I had done a lot of this divination with these cards. It's kind of phenomenal how often synchronicity was like, this is exactly what I needed to hear. So it doesn't always happen, of course, but so the axis is the cheese. And it's talking about how the hemp rope, when they're hunting whales, they have to use hemp rope because it's strong, is the only kind of rope that can resist that kind of water. Ocean water just destroys things. And they're talking about how they have to spiral it perfectly in tubs at the end. Because if you don't, it can catch an arm. You either lose the whale or you can lose, a human if you don't do it right. And how it has this perfect kind of layers of concentric spiralizations without any hollow but the heart, or minute vertical tube formed at the axis of the cheese. At the least tangle or kink in the coiling would, in running out, infallibly take somebody's arm, leg, or entire body off. The utmost precaution is used in stowing the line in the tub. Some harpooneers will consume almost an entire morning in this business, carrying the line high aloft and then reeving it downwards through a block towards the tub, so to free it of all possible wrinkles and twists. So when it's talking about the axis of the cheese, for you, it's the perfect center of a perfectly done thing in the hunt that you're doing. It's taking the time to align your tools really well, so they look like this perfect axis of your hemp line looks like a perfect axis of cheese. So it's why it's actually a really happy like sun moon on this. So there's your answer to whatever your question was. And for everyone else, if you want a card from Moby Dick, just put a favorite number in the chat or mention anything about Moby Dick, and I'll draw a card for you. Aqua Selim, love my videos. Thank you so much. I appreciate that, because I know it's I'm feeling a little dry lately. I think everybody goes through spells. But I don't know. I just have to follow the ones that I love and do more books, because that's what really got me started doing this in the first place. Hey, Twitchy Witch, good to see you. Hi, let me know if you want a card. Great. Can I do the number 7, like in general? Yeah, I can talk about the number 7, but right before that, Estefania said 27. So I'm going to draw one more card for them. Actually, first, I'll have my little glass of wine that I'm enjoying with you that came from the in-laws. It's nice. In France, your in-laws are le bel-père et la belle-mère, the beautiful parents, and your stepsister is the beautiful sister. And it's really nice that you call your in-laws the beautiful parents. There's something really nice about that. Where'd the cards go? Here. All right. So, Estefania, for your question, the card you got is, wow, There She Blows. You got the most classic line in the entire book. This might be getting like the universe card in the tarot. I mean, it's spotting the whale. If I remember, let me look this up because I have the book right here. Where does this occur the first time? What chapter do they mean here? Yeah. So yeah, it says it a couple times, but this is exactly what they say when they finally see the white whale in a chapter 132. After all of this going from Nantucket across the Atlantic, across the Indian Ocean, into the Pacific, they finally say, there she blows, when Ahab spots the white whale. And I won't try to do any spoilers tonight about the book, because I do think it's the best thing written on the North American continent, and everybody should listen to the audiobook version by Frank Miller. So this to me would say that your project is in sight, your thing, whatever you're asking about, it's right there. Like it's birthing. Breaching is when the whale jumps straight out of the water. By the way, only in sperm whales, only female whales breach, as far as we know. So the fact that Moby Dick jumps out of the water like that means that she must have been a female, which Melville actually wouldn't have known, but it means that the whole book is about a female whale who's protecting all of her comrades from these Ever whalers and attacking back against the ships. So anyway, There She Blows is talking about a super high-powered female whale fighting against oppression. And if you want a book on this topic, White as Waves is a book written by this female poet from the whale's perspective, and it's just a beautiful meditation. There's a scientist called Hal Whitehead who studies sperm whales. Seems like a beautiful hippie soul, and he says that if he had to guess, this is actually how it works with whale culture. And so it's very cool. Call Me Ishmael, says Twitchy Witch. All right, okay, we're gonna have a bunch of these tonight. Awesome. Oh, okay, Twitchy Witch, you have to go? Okay, let me do her card, and then I'll cover the number 7, and then I'll see if I can catch up. I knew that these things take a while. I'd love 33. Great love. Okay, so Twitchy Witch was next. Twitchy Witch, for your question, making legs. Bowing in fealty is what that means. I actually learned a phrase from that one. And what chapter is that in? It's on the deck. Okay, so this is in chapter 127, which is one of the theater chapters. Like, Moby Dick is basically based on Shakespeare and the Bible. And there's a couple chapters which are simply, he writes them like they're being performed for the theater, which is why Frank Miller is such a great reader of this book, because he was a Shakespearean actor. But anyway, this is when... This is one of the comedy scenes. It's about the carpenter, who is like a classic Shakespearean comic in the book, and he's talking about making the coffin for Queequeg. And now he's replacing the leg that Captain Ahab lost. And he says, "Then tell me, art thou not an errant, all-grasping, intermeddling, monopolizing, heathenous old scamp, to be one day making legs, and the next day coffins to clap them up in, and yet again life buoys out of the same coffins?" By the way, sorry, this is Ahab talking to the carpenter. So he said, "Thou art as unprincipled as the gods, and as much a jack of all trades." So Ahab is playing with the carpenter, saying, you're making all of these different things. Out of the whalebone, you're making me a leg. You're making a carpenter a coffin over here. You make life buoys out of this same wood. And it makes you as unprincipled as the gods to be such a jack of all trades. So this is a play on words about how you used to make legs to royalty. A bow of fealty. But here Ahab's talking about making legs and the fact of actually making them. So, to whatever your question is, to me it seems like it's something about playing with what other people are thinking about this means. You know, to most people this would be, oh, I'm bowing to the king. But to Ahab, it means, no, I am making my own legs to keep going. This whale might have taken my leg. I'm going to make more legs to do this. So, good luck making legs, says Lex. All right. So, good. Thanks, Twitch. Good to see you. Good. We've got a good number of people here. So, somebody asked about 7. I'll do 7 quick, and then I want to catch up on the 3 things I have to do. You started walking again today after 2 weeks of bed rest. That's beautiful. First of all, let me send lots of love and light and healing. I know you've been dealing with this stuff for a while, so I hope that this getting out of bed goes really well and you're feeling strong and that you don't push it too hard and that you take care of yourself. So sending lots of healing vibes from here. Oh, you just started today. Good for you. Make legs. All right. So, number 7 quick, and then we'll do the 3. Good to see you, Twitchy Witch. Thanks for coming in. So, here is the number 7, and I added some new things, so it's funny you should ask. And, in fact, I also added, as I mentioned this earlier, I added a new, Stages of Alchemy. So I'll end with that one. So I'll just add a couple of 7s that aren't in the video that I mentioned before. And here, I can take this off its little stand. We're amongst friends, aren't we? So, This is the thing I shared on Instagram that's so close to my heart, is that in alchemy, you have earth, air, earth, water, air, and fire, and they're interacting with salt, mercury, and sulfur. And these represent body, mind, and soul. And as I said at the beginning, the Chariot was the card I drew for this. And the Chariot is about balancing your body, mind, and soul. And so it's interesting you asked about the number 7, because I think when you find those elements within yourself and what they represent, and you apply them to each of your your body, mind, and soul, that's what you're trying to do. I mean, that's the metaphor that I often find helpful, and I think a lot of other people have as well. And another way of looking at that is the chakra system, and this is about how to transform your chakras into from fear at the root to confidence instead. So the 7s that I added, here is a Dore with the 7-headed beast from Revelations, which I just wanted to have up there. And then also in the Anishinaabe religion, you have the 7 fires of prophecy. And then here in alchemy, you're going through 7, going from lead to iron to tin to copper to mercury to silver to gold. And then in the liberal arts, you have the classic 7, which are great ways to think about the universe, I think. You have Musica, but she could also be seen as a number of time, since music is, based on time in a way. Arithmetica, she's the numbers themselves. She's the sun. Astrologia or astronomia, she's the numbers of space and time. Then you have Grammatica, which is language, the moon. And then you have Geometria, which is the numbers of space, which is also Jupiter. You have Rhetorica, which is speech as art, which is Mars. And then Dialectica, which is speech as reason, Mercury. And people have been asking me about how you start if you're searching for deities or spirits or forces of nature or spirits to work with. I think you can find them in the classical tradition of the West anyway. I mean, I would say get one of those like great dictionary or encyclopedias or whatever tradition appeals to you. You look around in used bookstores and look for ones that seem like they're written by some cool old lady or guy who spent their life just putting together a really great one. I have one on fairies that I have a book about, and it's just a perfect rundown on everything about the history of fairy and folklore. And I find some really fascinating spirits in there who I've started to incorporate and talk to because they just make sense to me. I think things like the 7 goddesses of liberal arts or the 9 muses can be ones where, any of us doing any kind of art today or any kind of work are using them in the same way. We're using speech, we're using our art skills to better the world somehow. You sent a squirrel. Thank you so much. I don't quite know how all these work, but I think that means something really nice. So I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the squirrel. Hello, my friend Bruce. Okay, and I'll finish on number 7 and get back to the Dicomancy. But the 7 types of Greek love: Eros, the erotica. Then you have Philia, which is love between friends. You have Ludus, which is playful love. Pragma, which is long-standing love. Storge, which is parental love. Filiotia, which is self-love, which all of us could use more of, my therapist tells me. And agape, which is the love of everyone. And then here's just some beautiful arrangements of the number 7 I found online. But the agape meal takes me back because in my Anabaptist church growing up, we had agape meals. We had love feasts, and it was beautiful. It was everybody from the church. We get together twice a year and have a big meal, and you have to wash the feet of the person next to you for humility. And it just brought together this community. We all played together, and it was really sweet, but I miss that. And it's what I like about finding online now, is some other people at least who get the same vibe. I just wish we could all get our kids together to play. But I so appreciate the community I found through this Hermetic Wall video going big and finding all of you. So Catherine, so it is money. People pay money for this, and they send money this way. That's the sweetest thing. Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Alien peace signs. Look at all those. Oh, this is the best. Thank you so much. All right. Look, Catherine Hunt, you're on a roll. Thank you. Thank you so much. All right, you'll get a card tonight. Okay, let me do some cards for people quick. I'm behind on the comments, but I want to catch up on the cards. So Tyler 96, you did a 44, and you got a dark purplish yellowish color. And I don't quite remember where that is in the book. So let's look up and see what the so this is in which chapter? It's in chapter 3, the Spouter in the very beginning. Oh! Such a dark purplish color. It's stuck over there with large blackish-looking squares. Terrible fellow. Yes. So the dark purplish yellowish color is the face of Queequeg, who in Moby Dick, in like the 3rd chapter, Queequeg walks in. He's from the islands of the South Pacific. He is covered in tattoos that explain all the mysteries of the universe and his religion, even though he can't quite read them. It's one of the great ironies. But this is when he first meets Ishmael. He gets in late at night. Ishmael's too timid to say, "Oh, I'm in the bed too." But Queequeg lays down next to him, and they scare each other at first, but by the morning they're the fast friends. And Queequeg is the Christ figure of Moby Dick. He is absolutely what we're all aiming for. He's not in the like Rousseau's beautiful savage kind of way. Queequeg is a man of the world and a hunter and well aware of everything that's going on, and has transcended that to become someone who is just perfectly at peace with himself, with his religion of worshiping his small idol head, Yojo, that he takes with him everywhere. And so his dark purplish yellow color is absolutely the pinnacle of what Melville was saying is the life worth living. This guy who was doing exactly what he wanted to do in the way that he wanted to do it, and this is what this is referring to, which is whatever it is. I think this is getting a very good thing for whatever it was you were asking about. Tikutaki, 23. Catherine Hunt, you're so sweet. You make me blush. Okay, Tikutaki, let's get a card, and then one for my wife, and then let's catch up with the comments. Because I have to go in about half an hour because we have bed. So, I love this one. This one, and with some art from our road years, is the white waiter who waits on cannibals. So this is a great scene because the chef is a really funny character in Moby Dick, but all of the people he's waiting on are these really tough guys from around the world who hunt whales, and they don't take any guff from him, and so they can scare the crap out of him, pretending that they're going to eat him and things like that. Even though he kind of cows everyone else on the ship, he's scared of these harpooneers, and so he is the white waiter who's waiting on cannibals. So to me, it's the idea of power, and you have these powers over from your own nature, that if you let yourself be free and let it really come out, you can transcend anyone trying to screw with you. That's what I feel like this is saying. So yeah. And as always, if you want to listen to this book, just DM me or email me. I can send you the link to the Dropbox version by Frank Miller, which is the absolute best way to experience Moby Dick. A Shakespearean actor letting it roll over you. I love it. So, for my wife, sharing a harpooneer's blanket. That's from the same Queequeg chapter, and tonight, maybe I'll be your harpooneer, and we'll share blankets. So, that's really nice that I got that with my love. Sharing a blanket. It's also about a good hunt and working well with others, which with your new situation with work, I think also makes a lot of sense. So, Catherine Hunt, thank you so much. Okay, let's catch up on these. For the Moby Dick book is White as the Waves by Allison B, I want to say, but White as the Waves should get it. White as the Waves, Moby Dick. Good. Yeah, it was nice with Twitchy Witch, Catherine Hunt, you're great. When I think about my number, I think the number 3. Yeah, I think those are 3 of the key number 3s. So, hey Avery, second time Queequeg came up for you this week? Awesome. Queequeg is an amazing figure. He's a reason to read Moby Dick, for sure. All right, so I'm caught up on comments. Let me enjoy my little glass of wine. Where did I put it? Well, I guess if I lost it, I don't deserve it. Now there it is. Yeah. So for my recovery, I decided with this half bottle of wine I got from the in-laws, instead of just drinking the whole thing tonight or whenever, I'll just have 2 glasses with you, my friends, which is for my recovery a good spot to be. So actually, this will be the end because 25 minutes we should get to bed. As always, feel free to ask any questions about the Hermetic Memory Wall or any of the numbers. I will also bibliomance from here. And if you're new, we're doing Dickomancy, and if you put a number into the chat, I will draw a card from Moby Dick, and I would... it's amazing how often it works out. So it's worth doing divination by Moby Dick cards for sure. And so, salut Brazon. Oh, you love my videos. Thank you so much. Yeah, thanks so much. It's been really good doing them lately. It's been nice to connect with people, and if you're into this, please join the Discord. It's so nice to find community online again. I mean, it feels like back in the days of Facebook when it was fun, except occult edition. Oh, thanks, Libby. That's really kind. So please join the Discord. It's really a great place to connect, especially if TikTok gets banned in the US, which I don't think is outside the realm of possibilities at all. And I can see where they're coming from. Like, if this isn't a liability security, I don't know what is. But, it's also good for this hermetic talk. I don't know. Okay, Maria, number 21 for you is, half-formed fetal suggestions. And that's from the Moby Dick chapter. Okay. Well, it's also, this is my last day at my first job after we had kids, which is funny, this came up then. But half-formed fetal suggestions. This is from chapter 41, Moby Dick. So this is where the whale first gets mentioned. So that alone is something. Because good old Melville, he went 42 chapters before he even talked about the whale. Like, Ishmael hadn't heard of the whale, didn't come up till a third of the way through the book. So half-formed fetal suggestions. So they're talking about the whale. No wonder then that ever-gathering volume from the mere transit over the widest watery spaces. The outblown rumors of the white whale did in the end incorporate with themselves all manner of morbid hints and half-formed fetal suggestions of supernatural agencies, which eventually invested Moby Dick with new terrors, unborrowed from anything that visibly appears. So that in many cases such a panic did he finally strike, that few who by those rumors at least had heard of the white whale, few of those hunters were willing to encounter the perils of his jaw. This one is deep. This one's thick. To me, it is that supernatural agencies, that might mean something to you already. That something super normal or outside the norm is going on with you. But also, it speaks to the power of all of this belief completely changing the world. And perhaps whatever it is you're involved with, because everybody believed this about the white whale, it didn't even have to do anything. It would just show up and it wouldn't have to fight because everybody was so scared. It's something about your reputation preceding you. And that with you harnessing these half-formed fetal suggestions, with you adding your voice, adding what it is you do to the situation, might even be in a small way, but you're participating in something that's going to be much bigger. It's going to help everyone to believe that this is true. This even speaks to me as someone who writes graphic novels that aren't read by millions, we'll say that, but are good pieces of work, and I think have helped some people somewhat in their work. And so the idea that it might feel like a widow's mite, that it might feel like just your 2 pence that you're participating in, but in any case, what you're doing is you're turning the rumors of your thing, of your white whale, into a full-blown terror to everyone else, or inspiration perhaps. But all of your threads are joining together into something greater to do something great. That's what I feel like is coming across with this card. So that's for you, Maria. So that's a good one. I don't know, it's inspiring to me too. So, Bruce, what part of the world are you in? I'm in Bordeaux, France. That is where, actually, this is not where this wine is from. This wine is from Terroir Gruneau, which I think is like southeast. But I'm not a wine person or good with French geography yet. I'm not bad. I'm getting there. But yeah, it's really nice. We're 20 minutes from the in-laws. That's the real part of the world I'm in. I'm 20 minutes from the in-laws. That's kind of what matters. And 7 minutes from the school. That's the size of my universe. But France is really nice. I've been here for 2.5 years. My French is still quite lousy, but I'm understanding more and more. I don't have a ton of time to learn it. I'm actually almost want to make a video about how sad and hard it is, because I feel very stuck. But that's what I like about TikTok. It's the place where you're supposed to be honest and not just be polished all the time. So I appreciate that. So yeah, Bordeaux, France. It's great. It's very French. It's very, very French. And since my father might be watching, let me share his favorite line from Steve Martin. Those French, they have a different word for everything. It's like a whole other language. Which is great. It's a great piece of work. 42 from Leia. That's a good number. That's a good number. I'm really behind on numbers. All right, cool. Let me go a little faster. Catherine Hunt. I like my cigar, but I take it out of my mouth once in a while. Thank you so much. That's very sweet. Leia, 42 is man haters. I don't know. Sometimes they just mean something to the person right away. So let me see. This is in the Cetology chapter, which is to me one of my favorite chapters because it is about all the different types of whales, and he just goes through them, and that's what I base my Moby Dick cannabis books on, all the different types of cannabinoids, or like different types of whales. But in Manhunters, he's talking about the finback whale, which is one that's very hard to see, and it's a very retiring whale. The finback is not gregarious. He seems a whale hater, as some men are man-haters. Very shy, always going solitary, unexpectedly rising to the surface in the remotest and most sullen waters, his straight and single lofty jet rising like a tall, misanthropic spear upon a barren plain, gifted with such wondrous power and velocity in swimming as to defy all present pursuit from man, this Leviathan seems the banished and unconquerable Cain of his race, bearing for his mark that style, the fin, upon his back. So to me, this is saying it's good to be a man hater, a person hater right now. That you can be a solitary whale with your one beautiful solitary spout and doing your thing. And that it will pay off. It's part of what makes you unconquerable, is that you can be a sullen whale all by yourself sometimes and learn and grow and do your own thing. And it's okay to be a person hater sometimes when you need to. As an introvert, preach it. 18 please, and what's your favorite part of your wall? From Avery. Hi Avery. What's my favorite part of my wall? I mean, I really had fun coming up with the idea of the 1 through 10 and 1 and 4, especially close to my heart. But like, what's really great for my study is this. Like I just so often like go in the basement and come up here and just like look at this wall and kind of see how stuff is connected. And as a scientist, it just keeps making sense. Oh, that energy would connect to that energy, and I can see the how that would line up the different metaphors or levels of the universe, whether it's the galactic thing or biochemistry level. I often think of the cell as a city, and at the ecosystem level with the ocean, it's the tree of life is really just an amazing like shorthand for whatever's going on in the universe. And so I wish I had it memorized better, but I use a lot of systems to kind of compare and contrast. So anyway, Avery, your number is 18, and you are gonna get a frightful roll and vomit. That's what happens at the end of a whale's life. That's from Stub and Flax Kill a Right Whale. Yeah, so this is the first. At last his spout grew thick, and with a frightful roll and vomit, he turned upon his back a corpse. This is the death of a right whale, and it's not pretty. The thing about how they used to kill whales is they would they would get through their lungs and then they would eventually suffocate to death. At least the Russians in the 50s, even though they killed a lot of whales, they did it with grenade launchers and it was much quicker. The ancient whalings was a particularly brutal way to die. It's terrible, but you know, it's worth knowing. And this was Ahab asking for a right whale because there's supposed to be a good luck thing about having a sperm whale head on one side of your ship and a right whale head on the other side. And so this was the cost of just Ahab's piece of luck. And so to me, it almost suggests that whatever it is you're thinking about, that it's worth paying the hard price. You don't actually need to like die and vomit and roll, but that to get the other half of the luck that or like the next thing coming together you're searching for, that the cost is, it's not going to be easy, but it's worth it. If that makes sense to you. It might take a frightful roll and vomit, but with that, you'll have the whale's head on each side of your ship, and then you can, that'll be the good luck for that next part of the voyage. So that would be my guess for that one. Sid, is there a link to Discord? Yes, in my link tree, there's a link to the Discord. There's a link to my books. My queer books are republished with my illustrator Sumac, and so you can buy these on Amazon now, which is crazy. But it's a great piece of work about queer history and medical marijuana in California. The AIDS crisis, it's based on Angels of America and Moby Dick, not to surprise you. Okay, now I'm getting behind. Okay, so yeah, Discord has all my stuff. I have a lot. I even do I Ching readings. Sydney, 44. That was the same card. You need to, these aren't quite set up for mixing like a regular deck of cards. 44, huge pronged poles. I don't even know what that's from. Sometimes I know exactly where it's from and sometimes not. So this is from the Tryworks. So this is how they turn the whale blubber into, boil it and turn it into that beautiful sperm. And these are the huge pronged poles that they pitch the hissing masses of blubber into the scalding pots or stir up the fire beneath till the snaky flames darted curling out of the doors to catch them by the feet. And it's in this whole beautiful passage about this really terrible thing. But it's using these poles to throw the blubber into the boilers and all the different methods they would use to get every bit of oil out of the blubber. And so it is not a pretty process, and it's why some people talk about the alchemy lying underneath Moby Dick. But always in alchemy, a common step in alchemy is burning stuff off and heating it. And you need these huge pronged poles to throw the stuff in. You know, maybe this piece of yourself, maybe pieces of things that are hanging on to you, but that it'll take some burning to get rid of stuff. And you might need to use your huge pronged poles to do it. So that's what that one says to me. That's from the chapter The Tryworks. And by the way, this is all going to be on YouTube. So if you want to look at this stuff later, it's there. And of course, Moby Dick is free on Gutenberg. Sid, 28, your card is an enormous wallowing sound. Isn't that a nice one? So what is that? That is in the chapter. Chapter helps put stuff in its place. That's in chapter The First Lowering. It's the first time to go out for a whale. Peering over the side, you could see the... they caught the sharks. The sharks come and eat the whale as it's along the side, and they sometimes have to go out there and cut at them. And so peering over the side, you could see them before you heard them. Wallowing in the sullen black waters. This is the wrong wallowing. Sorry. Okay, so this is a different wallowing. My apologies. You're not the shark. You are... this one. It's in that same chapter, though. It's funny, you use wallowing twice. Enormous wallowing sound. So it's about as the oarsmen are rowing towards the whale. They hear an enormous wallowing sound as of 50 elephants stirring in their litter. So it talks about the courage of these people pulling their oars towards the whale at their back. The only person looking forward is a harpooner. And so these guys are pulling hard, even though they hear this enormous wallowing sound like 50 elephants. They still keep pulling forward to allow the person with the harpoon to do the job that they're all there to do. And so to me, this is talking about going forward in the face of fear. Even though there's this like craziness of enormous wallowing sounds and it sounds terrible in the grinding of gears, that like it's working towards a worthwhile goal. So So that's Sid. Bruce for 22. All right. Yours that jumped out is Don't Ye Love Sperm? The Pequod Meets the Virgin. This is a great chapter. Here, let me find exactly what they're saying in this one. So the Virgin is a ship, a Dutch ship, and so I think it's the first ship they meet even. And so Flask they don't want to trade with them. They're competing with the Dutch ship. My wife says time to go to bed. I guess it is. 10 more minutes. All right. So, Don't Ye Love Sperm? This is them taunting them about how they okay, I'm a little confused. Sorry. They stole the sperm whale from them, and they're yelling at them about, don't you love sperm? Don't you love this whole bank? And what are you going to do now about it? So I think it's talking about going after your dreams, actually. Because the sperm in this is so rich. It's so rich. It's so much in demand that's worth sending people across the world for 6 months to like 2 years at a time to get this. Don't ye love sperm? This is worth getting. Just as Jesus said, if you pass by and you realize that there's a treasure in that field, you go out and sell everything to go get that, to go buy that field. And the treasure is within you. It's one of the main points of Moby Dick, like at its base. So, all right, I should probably do a little bit more Dickomancy. Hey, Kitty Bush, good to see you. Maria, good. Glad you liked it. Felix 27. I got a bunch more messages. I'm gonna have to stop here after I'll do 2 more. Felix, you got the ugliest abortion. That is in the Whiteness of the Whale, which is one of the most mystical chapters in the whole thing, for sure. Because he talks about how white, people will say, oh, it's so good, but really it's such a dark, awful color, and white is something to fear. And so is it not this whiteness that can make a creature look like the ugliest abortion? And does nature in her least palpable... nor does nature in her least palpable, but not the less malicious agencies, fail to enlist among her forces this crowning attribute of the terrible. And so it talks of the power of the whiteness of these creatures being themselves, and it might not looking right to anyone else, but it's right for them. It might appear like the ugliest abortion, but this whale is white, and this whale is really scary. And these other creatures that the good Lord made white are scary for a reason. They stand out for a reason. Just like anything brightly colored in the world is probably poisonous or very deadly, and you don't want to screw with it. That's why it makes it this color. So something about being yourself, I think. All right. Good. Honesty on TikTok, life in the universe. What are we doing? I'm super late. Sorry, Dickomancy. You had me at man-hater, but lost me, but brought me back with the whales. Yeah, that's me. I get out there. Guess I'm a hater right now. Good, Pinecone. Yeah, it's nice to be an introvert. All right, good. Catching up. Did I do 16 yet? Not yet. Here, let me make sure can you hold up again, Bruce? Dude. Okay, cool. Great. Thank you. Well, you think I caught up on all the Dickomancy. Great. I'm actually caught up in the comments. Awesome. Great. So if someone wants to do one more, that sounds good. But yeah, I think it's 9:25. It's time to go to bed. I'll get my last wine. And my last announcements, which are... Okay, Catherine. Catherine, of course you get the last one. Of course you do. Thank you so much for all the gifts. That was really, really kind. And thank you for everybody for joining. I really love finding this community. So, please, announcements is... please jump on Discord if you're at all into it. It's been really great. I think we're going to start a book club. I might go with this Blake book I just found, William Blake versus the World. But also in taking suggestions, and we'll see what works. Oh, thank you, Catherine. And so Also, like I said, my book is for sale up on Amazon. You can see it in the link tree. But also, the books are for free. The 3 books I have finished writing. So they're based on Moby Dick. As you can see, I like Moby Dick. So I have all 135 chapters of Moby Dick lined up to explain the human history and science of cannabis. So I have 3 of those done, and those 3 are free as PDFs at lexpelger.com. If you want to buy a hard copy of the Queer book, that one is on Amazon. And I want to try to get the other... the science one done at least within the next couple weeks, months. It's tough to reformat these. It takes some time. I don't have much time between kids and a business. But I'm really proud of these books, and I want to keep going on them as I get a little bit more breathing room as the kids get a little older and my business gets more established. So that's it. I'm just trying to make more videos, and hopefully they connect. It's not pleasant though, because I have all these new followers, and it doesn't mean more views. I look at my stuff from like 2 years ago when I started, and most of the stuff is the same number of views as I do now, and it doesn't really matter how many followers you get. And so you put out this stuff, and you just wish people could see it better in a more curated way, because they ask to see it, and then most of them don't. I don't like TikTok because it's so one way, and I want more community, us going back and forth, and it being more like that. So that's what I'm trying to create here. If you follow me on YouTube, I'd really appreciate it. I'm getting started there. I'm doing a lot of psychoactive education on there, and I cross-post all this stuff, especially for my friends in India who are banned from, TikTok isn't there, so they can't see it. I'm cross-posting on YouTube. And I have some good writings come out lately, too, if you're into the cannabinoids. All right, so last one. My YouTube channel is at Lex Pelger Education. Yeah, share yours, Bruce. And so that's in my Discord as well. So the last thing I'm going to do, since it's 9:26 here, is do the one for Catherine Hunt. This one jumped out at me. It's the same one as before, so I might draw another one. A fright for roll and vomit. So what that meant before was, pursuing the thing for good luck. But let's get you a new one and see what comes out that didn't come out yet. All right, the Persian host who murdered his own guests. Isn't that funny? There it is. So that is in chapter 58, Brit, which is a really beautiful, idyllic chapter, actually, which is funny that this is in the middle of it. Brit is the golden yellow small fauna that live on the top of the ocean, and the right whales just go through and mow them like meadows. That's what they eat. And so that's what this chapter is about. But then he's talking about how miraculous the water is. And talks with the Hebrews under the feet of Korah. But he said, but is also a fiend. But not only is the sea such a foe to man, who's an alien to it, it is also a fiend to its own offspring, worse than the Persian host who murdered his own guest, sparing not the creatures which itself hath spawned. Like a savage tigress that tossing into the jungle overlays her own cubs, so the sea dashes even the mightiest whales against the rocks and leaves them there side by side with the split wreck of ships. No mercy, no power but its own controls it. Panting and snorting like a mad battle steed that has lost its rider, the masterless ocean overruns the globe. That last one is one of those quoted lines from all of Moby Dick. The masterless ocean overruns the globe. And so it talks about how, yes, the ocean is so beautiful and spawns so much that we depend on and that inspires us. But it's also the host who murders its own guests. The ocean is so dangerous and so tough. And if you think of yourself as the microcosm of this planet, the oceans are your emotions. And that's where they're kept. And so your emotions are, yes, so beautiful and so amazing, and they overrun you sometimes, but also they can murder you. And sometimes it's good. I mean, you have it's Joseph Campbell says you must be willing to murder your own children. He was talking creatively about taking care of certain, not including stuff in your work or your artwork that shouldn't be there. But if you look at it in parts work, if you treat your body like a series of parts, it's never about hurting the other ones. It's always about figuring them out and accepting them. Because just like every person makes sense, every part of yourself makes sense, even the really dark ones. They're doing something there to protect you. And so it is important that the ocean does all the things that it does. And so I think it's saying pay attention to your emotions, and also that they can be integrated, but they also don't have to rule you. So I might even read this chapter. It's the Brit chapter in Moby Dick, but it's a really beautiful one, and he's trying to say something really deep there, I believe. So that's the last card that I will end on. And so, Catherine, thank you for all these things. Being Before the Veil is Bruce's YouTube. Cool. And Catherine Hunt, thanks for all these gifts. And so, yeah, it's 9:30 on the dot, so it's time for me to go to bed. But I just want to say thanks, everyone, so much. I look forward to seeing you on Discord. Libby, it's really cool that you downloaded it. Looking forward to it. If people want to join our book club, that sounds great. And, yeah, I look forward to seeing more of you online. Okay, good night. And now the funny part where I have to turn it off while everybody's watching. Love this one. There it is. Okay, good night, everybody.